These people say that you're a science denier if you're a Christian, which is absolutely absurd because most of the stuff they believe is not science. But
Oh, okay. Well, I would be happy to know exactly what it is that an atheist believes that denies science. Please go ahead and enlighten me. Very specifically, atheist beliefs. As far as I'm concerned, atheist, as far as like my role as an atheist or labeling me as an atheist, I don't have a belief. Like I don't believe that God doesn't exist. An atheist, or at least the kind of atheist that I am, I just don't believe, which is what he's already stated in this video. So I don't see how you can say that things that atheists believe are non-scientific when you've already acknowledged that we just don't believe in your particular claim. That doesn't sound like a belief. It sounds like the absence of a belief in a God. You could say that. I have a non-belief maybe, but it's definitely not a belief. You could say that I have a belief that you're wrong as far as the God question goes. I mean, I guess you could say that. I don't see how that's unscientific because it's really just an opinion of mine.
Also, the other group of people that says it is Democrats. This is the party of science, people. This is the same party that thinks that a transgender boy is actually a girl and a transgender girl is actually a boy just because inside their head they think that they are. And this is not at all to make fun of, this is not at all a bash on transgender people. It's a bash about the people that claim that they're the party of science. They're not.
So I don't know how Democrats have claimed to be the party of science. I will say that the Democrat Party seems to be a lot more scientifically based and at least more scientifically knowledgeable when compared to most Republicans out there. So, I mean, I guess I'm fine with Democrats like leaning in the way of science or what science tells them rather than what their God book tells them, which is pretty much what the Republican Party is doing right now.
I'm a conservative, which means I believe in three things: God, guns, and that Jews should stick to comedy.
So I guess could be fine with that. But then there's the dig at the transgender people, the LGBTQ community. The way that you describe transgender people just shows how unscientific you are about this entire topic. So to claim that transgender people just sort of make up in their mind that they're not in the right kind of body is the most unscientific way to describe the transgender community. So here is point number one, and you affirming that you are in fact a science denier.
So, and you never look at like a lion out in the wild and say, hey, look at that male lion. Well, and then somebody goes, whoa, don't call them a male lion. You have no idea what they identify as. That would not be science. So
no, that would not be science, mainly because you're not really doing science with that. You're just trying to present what you think is an analogous situation when it really isn't. See, other animals in the animal kingdom aren't really concerned with all of this. It's because we have a complex central nervous system that we have come to sort of struggle with these issues. And that's due to the complexity of our brains and the fact that everyone's brains don't operate in the exact same way as everybody else's brains. You see, that's what you get when something develops naturally, is a lot of variation. And considering this, we should definitely expect there to be some transgender individuals in any given society. But yeah, atheists or Democrats or anti-theists, we're the science deniers here. Oh yeah.
Anyway, then they also say that abortion's not murder. Well, what exactly are you aborting? A clump of cells? If you left that clump of cells alone, what would it become? If you did nothing, if you did nothing at all, but just exist, what would happen? Oh, it would turn into a human life.
I kind of like how he shoots himself in the foot in this little part. Maybe it's just, he's thinking off of the fly and he's, doing all of this in one take, so he's not really realizing it. But at the beginning, he's chastising Democrats, atheists, anti-theists maybe, for saying that, a blastocyst or fetus or any other point in the gestation period is not a human life. But then he says, if you leave those clump of cells alone, it turns into a human life.
Ooh, self-burn. Those are rare.
I'm getting mixed signals from this guy, and it's a little frustrating. But still, we're not saying that it's not a human life or not, human cells or that those cells aren't living. What we're saying is that it's not a person, and it's really up to the woman who using her own bodily autonomy to determine whether or not she wants to continue with that pregnancy, because that's her choice. And if you want to know why we don't consider abortion to be murder, it's because we know how fucking words work. You see, murder is an illegal killing of another person. Well, a fetus is not a person yet. And when you could consider the transition between fetus and person, most of the time, abortions are not done at that point. At that point of viability where that fetus can be considered a person, abortions usually don't happen unless there's a medical emergency. And in cases where an elective abortion happens after that point, it's usually due to the fact that the state has restricted access to abortion services as well as sex education services and other women's healthcare services. And they've had to wait so long in order to get to a clinic because they couldn't afford to get there beforehand. So really, but Christians or Republicans, conservatives are just shooting themselves in the foot when they restrict abortion access, because what you're doing is you're just stopping safe abortions from happening, and you're prolonging the amount of time between when a person finds out they're pregnant and when they can get an abortion. So really, this is just a problem of their own making. If they should be angry with anybody, they should be angry with themselves. But yet again, this is another point where he is rejecting the science. Because the science clearly says that while a human life, starts way before viability, that doesn't mean that the life has an inherent right to life. And at the point of viability, most of the time, if a woman has gotten to that point, they generally want to have that child. So no, abortion is not murder, because a fetus is not a person, and it wouldn't be killing a person. Again, this is just how words work.